Hello, welcome to Forever Young Autobiographies. Today's show is all about writing and editing. 3 insider tips for a life story writing coach call. The show is brought to you today by Forever Young Autobiographies coaching calls, and I'll have some more information about this at the end where you can get some special deals. But if this is the first time you have come across Forever Young Autobiographies, a big g'day. This is where we learn how to write life stories for family and friends so that unique memories can live on. And I'd love it if you could follow, subscribe, like the show, even share it with a friend if you think that they will find it useful. So today's show is about writing and editing. And I bring this up because often I go for morning walks here in Australia along the beach, and I see the local school kids, the primary school kids, going for surfing lessons. How cool is that? They start their day on the beach, there's a surf coach, they go through a few tips on the sand, and then the coach and the students all hop in the water and they do their lesson, they do their coaching. And this is sort of similar but not similar to a life story writing coach. We don't get wet, but we metaphorically get wet with you in the writing water. We're there to help you and we're coaching you in the moment. And there's usually 3 things that we're actually paying attention to, and that's what I'm going to go over with you today. So the first part is always starting at the beginning. A good writing coach will be looking to make sure that your introductions, your first sentences, first paragraphs of either your project, your book, or your chapters are starting in a way that's really captivating and intriguing. Getting your audience or your reader to start and then continue with you all the way until the end. So this doesn't mean a long drawn out introduction with padding and lots of unnecessary detail before we get to what's going on. No, you want to rewind, you want to put the action at the beginning. You really want to thrust your audience, your reader, into that action just at the beginning to give them a taste, to draw them in, and then you can circle back and you can add some detail, some context. So that's a really good tip from a life story writing coach, is to remember your starts are so important. Now you could be writing an autobiography, a memoir, a biography, or some other project, but always remember, capture your audience from the very beginning. A second point that a life story coaching call will pay attention to is your voice or your tone. Now, when you think about your favourite authors, they've all got their own tone, their own character. You can really hear the author's character coming through in the way that they write and the dialogue that they write often. So this is their voice or their tone. And we all have this. And yours is fantastic. It speaks about you. So your coach, your writing coach, should be nurturing that. They want you to come through across in your project. And one way to do this is to encourage conversational writing. This is how we usually speak, whether we're talking to friends or family. We've got this special way that imparts our character, and we can do this for our life story project by thinking about writing conversationally. Now, it's basically writing how we would speak, I suppose, is the simplest way to sum it up. But really, really important to consider writing where your voice and your tone comes across. So the third point I have for you today that a life story coach would be looking for in a call is that your writing or your life story creating is easy to understand. It's easy to read, and that means it's enjoyable to read. There's lots of ways you can do this, of course, and when we're talking about writing and especially editing, one that comes to mind is making sure those sentences are, simple but not too short. You want a balance of long and short, but you don't want them to be really, really long, like 25 words or more long. I've seen sentences 100 words long, way too long. You're totally going to lose your audience when they're trying to wade through this sentence. So a good rule of thumb is 1 to 2 ideas per sentence. That's going to naturally cut down on your sentence length. And if you've got a sentence that's too long, think about where's the break point that you can chop that up. So you don't want long, flowery, really long sentences. Keep them short so that it's easy for your reader to follow you through your work. Make it enjoyable, not tedious for them. Other ways that you can make your writing easy to read through the editing process is to think about your tenses. Make them consistent so you're not jumping about future, past, present tense. Make sure that you're being consistent. Also, kill cliches. Well, you know what a cliche is, I'm sure. Overused sayings, phrases. You can tweak them to be a little bit different and play on words, but usually if you've got cliches, we've heard it all before. We're not reading to hear a cliche, so get rid of those. Also pay attention, of course, to your spelling and grammar when you're editing, and jargon. Very similar to cliches, you don't want to use jargon because not everyone's going to understand your jargon. Get rid of that and replace it with words that your average reader is going to understand. So I'm going to draw a line there. That's just some quick and easy life story fixes, ideas from a life story writing coach. To recap, we talked about always starting in an interesting way, so stellar starts, if you like. Then second, remembering your voice or your tone in your work. And then finally, making sure, do everything you can to make it as easy to read and enjoyable to read or to consume as you possibly can. So my hope is that you will see that a little bit of coaching goes a long way when you're life story writing, and it can really transform your work. So maybe consider it for yourself today. Now, before I leave you, just a point that this show is a summary of a whole article I've got over at my website on this topic. So really recommend you go check that one out. It's at foreveryoungautobiographies.com/writing and editing. Now the links for this will be down below in the show notes, so please go and have a look. Please read that article and let me know in the comments here or over there, what tip did I talk about today that perhaps interests you, or have you got one that could be really helpful to other people listening? Please share and we can all learn. So at the top of the show, I mentioned your Forever Young Autobiography coaching calls. Now, I do offer these on my website. You can go check those out, but I recommend that you sign up to become a member of my email articles. There's a sign up box on the home page, and if you put your email address, your name in there, then you're going to hear about discounts and deals, and one of those that will come up is to do with a discount on coaching calls. So please go and have a look at that, foreveryoungautobiographies.com, and you'll see the sign up box there to get the notifications for the articles and all the deals. So that would be a really, really hot tip I would like to share with you today. So I will be back again with another topic, and I would love if you could follow, subscribe, like the show, share it with a friend. And until then, happy writing.